The box was heavier than I expected. I set it on the kitchen island and sliced it open with my keys. Inside were stacks of ivory cardstock, thick, shiny, expensive-looking. The custom wedding programs we ordered last month. I pulled one out, unfolded it, and felt my stomach drop. On the front, the wedding of Nina Caldwell and Tyler R. Jennings. Tyler, not Mark, not me. I blinked hard, thinking maybe it was a mock-up, a leftover proof or something. But every single 100s had his name in gold cursive. Her ex, the one from college, the one she used to cry over back when we first got together. I stood there, fingers locked around the paper like it was evidence in a murder case. Quick note, before we get into it, share which city or country you're watching from. I found her in the dining room with her mom, Karen, surrounded by place cards and table maps, gossiping about who'd be too drunk for the toasts. I held the program out. You want to explain this? Nina barely looked up. Karen took it, squinted, and let out a little snort. Oh my God, you actually printed Tyler's name? She laughed, like it was cute. Nina's eyes widened, and her face went pale. Shit, that must have been from the old file. I was in a rush and reused the layout from before. I renamed it, I swear. You renamed it to Mark? I asked. Her mouth moved, but nothing came out. So you were editing a file named Nina and Tyler Wedding? She stood up fast, knocking over a glass of water. It was just a placeholder. Mark, calm down. It was a dumb mistake. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Karen chuckled and waved a hand. Men are so sensitive. It's just a name on paper. I stared at Nina. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Her jaw clenched, her hands shaking now. I'll fix it, I said, folding the program and tucking it into my pocket. Mark, wait, don't be like this. But I was already walking out of the room. I headed straight for the office and closed the door behind me. I shut the door behind me and stood there for a second. Not moving, not breathing, just letting the silence settle in. My office was the only place in the condo that still felt like mine. I sat down, cracked my knuckles and pulled up the spreadsheet. Wedding budget final. 21,000 left, still sitting in our joint fund. I clicked through the tabs, checked the balance twice, then opened a separate browser window and moved the entire amount into a new account under my name. No alerts, no red flags, just a clean transfer, done in under 2 minutes. Then I opened my notebook and wrote down the order. 1. Venue. 2. Florist. 3. Music. 4. Photographer. 5. Catering. I picked up the phone and called the Langham Hotel first. Our dream venue. Rooftop view, full-service wedding coordinator, some stupid monogram champagne package Nina was obsessed with. A woman named Dana picked up. Peppy voice. Too much energy. Hi. Thank you for calling Langham Weddings. How can I help you? Hey Dana, I need to cancel our reservation. June 15th, Caldwell and Jennings. The last name still made my stomach flip. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can I ask the reason? Anything we can do. There's been a mix-up, I said. Wrong groom. She didn't respond for a beat. Then, oh, I see. I'll process the cancellation right now. I'll need verbal confirmation you understand the deposit is non-refundable. I understand. Click. Done. Next up, the florist. Small place in Pasadena. Custom arrangements, peonies and orchids, whatever Nina had picked. I told them to scrap everything. The lady on the other end sounded genuinely bummed. We already ordered half the flowers. We can't. Keep him, I said. Or resell. Doesn't matter. Jazz trio? Cancelled. They were cool about it. Happens more than you'd think, man, the guy told me. Photographer? Gone. Catering? Same story. 5-course plated dinner down the drain. Beef Wellington, truffle mac and cheese, all of it. I tallied the lost deposits as I went. 19,000, give or take. Could have bought a car. Nina was probably still out there rearranging seat names and pretending none of this happened. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. The fan spun in lazy circles. I felt nothing. No rage, no heartbreak. Just this weird, eerie calm. Like a switch had flipped. I was out, and no one even realized it yet. I pulled up the wedding folder on my desktop, renamed it to Cancelled, and moved it into trash. Then I opened a calculator app and typed in divorce lawyer retainer, 5,000. Average total fees, 15,000 plus. Time wasted, years. Emotional damage, priceless. Yeah. 19 grand in losses now was cheaper than 30 later. Plus alimony, plus court fights, plus me hating myself for dragging it out. Nina still hadn't knocked on the door. No texts. No, I'm sorry. No explanation. Just silence from the other room, like she was waiting me out. Like this would blow over and we'd be back to cake tastings tomorrow. I clicked over to my email and started organizing the vendor receipts for tax season. I knew the IRS wouldn't care, but it gave me something to do. Control. My fingers moved faster with each one. Delete. Archive. Refund denied. Refund denied. Refund denied. By the time I finished, the wedding folder was gone, the budget sheet was cleared, and my calendar was wide open for June 15th. No wedding. No fake smiles. No pretending everything was okay. I wouldn't be standing under some arch thanking her for choosing me. I wouldn't be hugging her mom while she looked over my shoulder like she was doing me a favor. I opened a blank note and wrote 3 words. She picked him. Then I shut my laptop, stood up, and walked out of the office like I just finished a shift. I went back into the office, shut the door again, and sat down hard. My laptop was still warm. I stared at the screen for a second, then opened the browser and typed in the wedding site URL. Nina had designed the whole thing herself. NinaandMarkForever.com. I clicked through the tabs, photos of us in Malibu, his and her bios, the registry with all the overpriced crap we didn't need. I went straight to the guest list. 212 names. Family, friends, coworkers, childhood neighbors, college roommates, people I hadn't talked to since high school. All of them invited to a lie. At the top of the dashboard, there was a Send Update button. I hovered my mouse over it. My hands started to sweat. I clicked. Subject line first. I typed. Important update. The wedding of Nina and Tyler? I sat back for a second and cracked my knuckles. My heart thudded, but my head was crystal clear. Then I started typing the message. Hi everyone. So, funny story. Turns out Nina accidentally printed wedding programs with the wrong groom's name. Classic mix-up, right? But don't worry, we've decided to cancel the wedding entirely. Yep, no joke. Since we already paid for the rooftop lounge and open bar, we're turning it into a different kind of celebration. Freedom Bash 2025. Same date, same time. Come dressed to party. No vows, no drama, just drinks, music, and no more confusion about who's getting married to who. Cheers, Mark. I read it twice. My fingers hovered over the trackpad. My palms were damp. My breathing was tight. I wasn't trying to be petty. I just wanted it done. No long explanations, no arguing about who was right or wrong. Just facts. Wedding off. Money spent. Party still happening. I hit send. The screen flashed for a second. Then it was gone. Message sent to all contacts. No takebacks. I closed the laptop and leaned back in my chair. My hands were shaking, but not from nerves. From adrenaline. Like I just yanked the pin from a grenade and tossed it into a crowded room. I wasn't sure what kind of explosion was coming. But whatever it was already too late to stop it. Not even 5 minutes after I hit send, my phone lit up like a fire alarm. First was Chris, my best man. Dude, tell me that email was a joke. Before I could reply, 3 texts from my mom stacked on top of each other. Mark, what happened? Call me now. Was that real? Then my cousin Jenna. Then Rob. Then my boss. The group chat with my high school friends went full nuclear. I was still reading replies when I heard footsteps flying down the hall. Nina shoved the office door open, waving her phone. What the hell did you just send out? I didn't look up. The truth. She stood in front of my desk, panting, eyes wide like a raccoon caught in headlights. You're seriously broadcasting a typo to 200 people? Are you insane? No, I said calmly. Just done. It was one line. One stupid error. I told you it was from the old file. Why are you acting like I cheated on you? You didn't cheat, I said, finally looking at her. You just never let go of him. Her face twisted. You're blowing this up for what? Attention? No, I said, standing up. Closure. Mark, you're making me look like a crazy person. You sent that to my job, my aunt's, my pastor. I paid for the bar, I said. They're welcome to show up and drink. Just then, her mom stormed into the room, full volume. Are you proud of yourself? You've humiliated our entire family. My friends are calling me in tears. I turned to her without blinking. Should have proofread the program. Karen gasped like I slapped her. You petty little man. I walked past both of them, calm as hell, went straight to the bedroom, pulled out a duffel bag, and started stuffing it with clothes. T-shirts, jeans, socks. Didn't even fold them. Nina followed me in. Wait, are you leaving? No, you are. Excuse me. I'm changing the locks tomorrow. Get whatever you need and be out by noon. You can't do that, she hissed. We live here together. I own it. Your name's not on the deed. Karen stepped in behind her. You're abandoning your fiancé over a piece of paper? I zipped the bag, slung it over my shoulder, and walked to the front door. Over years of pretending she didn't still want someone else? Yeah, that sounds about right. I opened the door. Karen's mouth was still moving, but I stopped listening. Nina's voice cracked behind me. You're ruining everything. I paused at the threshold. No, I'm finally fixing it. Then I shut the door behind me. Rob lived 10 minutes away. When I showed up at his place, he was already on the porch, barefoot, beer in hand, shaking his head. You just detonated a wedding by email, he said. Figured it was cheaper than therapy. He laughed and held the door open. Guest room's yours. Stay as long as you want. Inside, I dropped the bag on the floor and exhaled for the first time in hours. My phone buzzed again, another voicemail. I didn't check it. I sat down on his couch, leaned back, and stared at the ceiling fan spinning above me. Same as the one back home. But here, it didn't feel like it was watching me. The next morning, I sat across from a real estate attorney named Angela Tran. No nonsense, sharp as hell, early 40s, navy pantsuit, zero small talk. Her office smelled like coffee and toner, and every inch of her desk was organized like it belonged in a catalog. I slid over the condo paperwork, proof of ownership, and a printout of Nina's name nowhere on the deed. She doesn't pay the mortgage. Never has. I just need her out. Angela skimmed everything fast, flipping pages like she already knew what she was looking for. 30-day notice. I'll write it up and send it certified today. She legally has to vacate or respond with a claim. She won't, I said. She'll throw a fit, but she'll leave. Angela nodded once and pulled out a form. I'll include an itemized list of expectations. No property damage, no late removal. You'll keep copies of everything. By the time I left her office, the paperwork was in motion. No screaming, no drama. Just facts. Clean, legal break. I was halfway back to Rob's place when my phone lit up. No caller ID. I answered out of habit. Are you kidding me? Nina's voice blasted through the speaker. You had me served? Like a criminal? You got a 30-day notice to vacate. That's not criminal, it's civil. I've been living there for 2 years. You think you can just erase me like that? You don't pay rent. You don't own anything. You made your choices. Oh my God, Mark, she shouted. This is financial abuse. You're weaponizing money because I made -1. The email came in at 9:42 a.m. Subject line, final itemization for wedding damages. Response required. I was halfway through a bagel at Rob's kitchen counter. Almost choked. I opened the PDF and stared at 5 pages of pure delusion. Karen had typed it out like it was a legit business invoice. Formal header, signature block, fake watermark, like she was some corporate entity. Total due, $26,800. I scrolled back to the top and started reading. Wedding consulting fee, pre-engagement to cancellation, $8,000. Emotional distress and public embarrassment, $3,500. Custom couture gown irreparably tied to canceled event, $5,200. Time investment hours spent on seating chart, menu tasting, etc., $4,000. Brand damage to Caldwell family reputation, $6,100. I wiped cream cheese off my chin and laughed out loud. She billed me for emotional distress and a dress she wasn't even wearing? I muttered. I grabbed my laptop from the couch, pulled up my receipts folder, and started digging. Took me less than 15 minutes to pull proof I'd already paid the caterer deposit, the band, the gown deposit, the damn calligraphy. Even found the Venmo I sent Karen back in April labeled Wedding Planner Tax Write-Off. I opened a new email to my lawyer, attached the PDF and all the receipts, and typed, subject, creative accounting. Please see attached. If she tries to claim this in court, I'd like to countersue for stupidity. 5 minutes later, he replied, I'll frame it for my office wall. We'll draft a formal rejection today. I sat back in my chair and took a long sip of coffee. That smug satisfaction lasted all of 30 seconds. Then the next email hit. Fraud alert. Suspicious activity detected. I froze. Opened it. Apparently, someone had tried to cash a $15,000 check from one of my old accounts, one I hadn't used in months. The alert flagged it because the signature didn't match. The bank rejected it, but the image was attached. The check was made out to Karen Caldwell. Memo line, wedding consulting fee. I stared at the screen, my hand tightening around the mouse. The handwriting was obviously forged. Sloppy. But they'd used one of my old checks from a junk drawer in the condo. I hadn't even realized they were gone. I forwarded the whole thing to my lawyer, no message needed. 2 minutes later, he called me. This is criminal fraud, he said. She tries this again, I'll press charges myself just for sport. She's gonna get herself evicted early at this rate, I said. She's already lucky we gave her 30 days. You wanna play hardball now? I want her out of my damn house. I'll file the notice by the end of the day, 48 hours. Then we involve the sheriff. I hung up and sat there in silence. 5 pages of fake invoices was one thing. Trying to cash a stolen check? That was next-level desperation. But I wasn't even surprised anymore. Karen wasn't just writing Nina's fantasy. She'd built her own. And now it was crashing around both of them. I was still on the call with my lawyer when his tone dropped. This check. This isn't a civil issue anymore, Mark. It's criminal. It's attempted bank fraud. He wasn't being dramatic either. The handwriting was a joke, loopy like a high school girl's signature. My name was barely legible, and they didn't even try to match my real signature. They used a damn gel pen. Tell me we can use this, I said. Oh, we can use it, he replied. This is enough to fast-track their eviction. I'm filing a formal demand today. 48 hours to vacate or I escalate to criminal charges. I could hear him typing in the background. Fast, focused, dead serious. This'll go through faster if we serve it to her lawyer directly, he added. Still using that budget guy from Van Nuys? Yeah, I said. Some cousin of her hairstylist or something. Perfect. Amateur hour. He'll fold. By the time I hung up, the email was already in my inbox. Subject: Notice of immediate demand to vacate. Fraudulent conduct attached. I forwarded it to Nina's lawyer with no body text. Just sent it cold. Less than an hour later, he replied. My client acknowledges receipt. We agree to vacate the property within the 48-hour period. No fight. No negotiation. Just a quiet, desperate surrender. I didn't even crack a smile. I just sat there in Rob's guest room, staring at my inbox, thinking about how fast the spiral had gone. 2 weeks ago, we were finalizing cake flavors. Now her lawyer was rolling over like a kicked dog to avoid charges. I texted Rob. Me. They're out in 48. It's finally happening. Rob. Need backup. Me. Damn right. I spent the rest of the day printing every document, receipt, and bank statement I had. I cataloged every major item in the condo, what I bought, what I had proof of, what was legally mine. Took photos of the furniture, the electronics, the kitchenware, even the damn blender. Everything Nina and Karen hadn't already claimed, I locked down. I wasn't leaving room for oops, didn't know that TV was yours games. By midnight, I had a labeled folder with a backup drive and a copy stored in the cloud. I wasn't going into that condo to argue, I was going in to take back my house. The next morning, I got one last text from Nina. Blocked number. You're blowing this way out of proportion. My mom made a mistake. She was stressed. We were all under pressure. You seriously want to ruin her life over a piece of paper? No apology. No ownership. Just excuses and emotional blackmail. I didn't reply. An hour later, I sent a final note to my lawyer. Subject: they're going to stall. I want police on standby. He responded immediately. Understood. I'll contact the local precinct. Go in with backup. It was all so clean, so methodical. But inside I was boiling. Not from anger, just disbelief. They'd tried to steal from me. Real, actual theft. And when it failed, they acted like I was the problem. I couldn't wrap my head around how far Nina had fallen. Or maybe this was who she always was, and I just never wanted to see it. Maybe her mom brought it out. Maybe they fed off each other. Didn't matter anymore. They had 48 hours left. And the next time I walked into that condo, I wasn't walking in alone. I pulled up to the condo just after 10 a.m. Rob was in the passenger seat, quiet for once, jaw locked. Two uniformed officers followed behind us in a separate cruiser. The air outside felt like it could slice skin. As soon as I opened the front door, the smell hit me. Perfume. Not just sprayed, soaked. My mattress reeked like someone dumped a full bottle of Chanel on it. My eyes burned. Rob muttered, "What the hell?" We stepped in farther. The living room was trashed. Couch cushions flipped. My leather armchair sliced clean down the middle. A steak knife still stuck out the side like a flag. Cabinet doors wide open. My blender was gone. Every spice jar I owned, salt, pepper, paprika, cinnamon, had been dumped into the kitchen sink, which they filled with water and cooking oil for good measure. The program board, the one I'd paid $1,400 for, it used to be on the hallway wall, custom designed with metallic lettering and embossed trim. Now it was dragged into the center of the room, and across it in red marker, someone had scrawled, "Should have been Tyler." I stepped forward, grabbed the frame, and started wiping it off with the edge of my shirt. Nina walked out of the guest room just then, like she was expecting me to fold. "You're not taking that," she said. "You didn't pay for it. My mom helped design it. It's ours." I didn't say a word. I kept cleaning the lettering off as best I could. Then Karen stormed out of the bedroom with a suitcase and that same fake professional attitude she always used with waiters. "Don't you touch that," she snapped. "That's part of the wedding materials we invested in. It's a shared asset." I shook my head. "It's mine. I have the receipt." "You're not keeping it," Nina snapped. She marched forward, grabbed the side of the board, tried to yank it out of my hands. "Nope." I gripped it tighter. "Let go." She shoved it hard against my chest, then pulled back and slammed it to the ground. The glass cracked. The frame snapped in half. $1,400, broken in 2 seconds. "You child," I said quietly. She stepped over the broken board like it was nothing. One of the officers finally stepped in. "Ma'am, that was his property. We're going to have to ask you both to step aside and only take items legally yours." Karen puffed up like she was about to argue, but the second cop walked in behind them and motioned to her to back up. She glared at me like I'd ruined Christmas. Nina crossed her arms and looked away like she was still the victim. I stood in the middle of my wrecked condo, broken glass around my feet, mattress ruined, kitchen trashed, and didn't say a damn thing. The cops watched as they packed a few boxes, mostly clothes, makeup, one duffel bag that looked suspiciously like mine. I let it go. Not worth it. An hour later, they were gone. No goodbye. No parting shots. Just silence and the slamming of the elevator door. Rob walked back in with 2 garbage bags and looked around. They really thought they were gonna win this? I looked at what used to be my living room. They thought I'd crawl back. He handed me a broom. Let's clean this up. Then we burn some sage or something. Place feels cursed. I almost smiled. Almost. It took 3 days and 2 professional crews to get the place back in shape. The cleaners didn't ask questions. They just hauled out the ruined mattress, sprayed down the walls, and steam cleaned every surface like they were prepping for biohazard. I replaced the leather chair with a newer, better one. Got a new blender, even bought real wine glasses for once. The air finally smelled like lemon, not perfume and mold. By the time Saturday rolled around, the condo didn't just look clean. It felt like mine again. Empty in the best way. At 6 on the dot, the doorbell started ringing. First came Chris and his girlfriend, then Rob and half our old crew from college. Then coworkers, cousins, even a few mutuals who had definitely picked a side, mine. By 7, I had over 100 people in my living room and out on the patio, music thumping, drinks flowing. No tension, no fake smiles, just open laughter and the kind of relief that only shows up after disaster. Someone brought party favors that said, "Free at last." Somebody else made shirts that read, "Wrong groom, right decision." I didn't plan any of it. That's what made it perfect. Everywhere I turned, someone was telling me how wild the email was, how unhinged Karen had looked in her Facebook meltdown, how Nina was already trying to play victim in group chats. No one was buying it. People weren't just laughing, they were done with her. Her story fell apart the second they heard mine. Around 10, Rob grabbed a chair and tapped the side of his beer with a fork. "All right, everybody shut up. I got something to say." The room quieted fast. He climbed onto the chair like it was a stage. "Mark," he said, raising his glass. "We've been through a lot of dumb crap together. But this takes the cake. Literally. Because there was supposed to be cake. And a wedding. And instead, you threw the most legendary breakup party any of us have ever seen." Everyone laughed, including me. He pulled a crumpled piece of cardstock from behind his back. One of the ruined wedding programs. "I found this in the junk drawer," he said. "Figured we should give it the send-off it deserves." He struck a lighter, lit the corner of the paper, and held it over the sink. The gold lettering curled and blackened. Tyler's name disappeared first. The room cheered. Someone passed me a whiskey. I took it. I looked around and saw every face clearly. My real friends. People who showed up not for the show, but because they gave a damn. People who knew me. Who knew what this had really been about. Not the wedding. Not the money. Not even the betrayal. It was about finally choosing myself. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel wrecked or embarrassed or used. I felt light. No regret. No what if. Just done. And free. The next morning, I woke up to a sore throat, a sticky floor, and for half-empty champagne bottles in the sink. My place looked like it survived a small war, but it was the good kind of wreckage, proof of celebration, not destruction. I opened my phone while waiting for coffee to brew. Over 100 new messages. Mostly people posting pics from the party, tagging me, calling it the most savage rebound in history. I didn't reply to all of them. Didn't have to. The story told itself. Nina and Karen had tried spinning their version. Something about emotional abuse, public humiliation, how I weaponized an email. No one bought it. Not even her side of the family. The second the forged check came up, done. People distanced fast, like rats off a burning ship. Then I saw the DM. From Tyler Jennings. Never thought I'd hear from him. "Hey man. Didn't know what was going on until I got a call from my mom about some wedding program. Just wanted to say I had no idea she was still hung up on me. I'm sorry. That must have been insane." I stared at the message for a while, then typed back, "No hard feelings. Not your mess." He replied once more. "She told me we'd always be connected. I thought she meant we'd both gone to Cal Poly. Guess not." That was it. I believed him. He didn't come off fake or defensive, just confused and caught in the middle of a fantasy someone else built. That's what hit me hardest. Nina wasn't in love with me or even him. She was in love with an idea. A version of life that never existed, wrapped in a Pinterest board and old emails. And she dragged us both into it. In the end, I was out 25 grand, a leather chair and one blender. Worth it. I walked out onto my patio, coffee in hand, sun rising over the buildings. The air smelled clean like fresh start. No drama, no manipulation, just peace. People kept telling me the email was savage. The party was savage. The lawyer was savage. But that wasn't the revenge. The real revenge was staying calm. Not screaming, not begging. Just watching someone try to set your life on fire and handing them the matches. Then walking away.